Welcome to the Explainer. All right, today we're going to lay out a blueprint. This is your personal guide for breaking into one of the most critical and honestly, one of the coolest fields in tech right now, cybersecurity, governance, risk, and compliance.
Think about it. Pretty much every company out there, from a tiny startup to a massive global corporation, is a digital company now. And what does that mean? It means every single one of them is facing a non-stop barrage of cyber threats. So the demand for pros who can do more than just set up a firewall, it's absolutely soaring. Companies desperately need people who get the whole picture of risk.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It can feel like this huge, impossible jump, especially when you start looking at those job descriptions. But here's the good news. There is a clear, structured path to get you there, and that is exactly what we're going to map out right now.
Okay, Section 1, the Modern Security Challenge. Before we jump into the how, let's take a second to really appreciate the scale of the why, the challenge that businesses are truly up against every single day.
Right at the heart of the solution is this role, the GRC analyst. And it really helps to break down that acronym. The G is for governance. Think of this as the rulebook, the policies that guide a company's security strategy. R is for risk. That's all about sniffing out and neutralizing threats. And C is for compliance, which means making sure the company is following all the laws and industry standards. These analysts are the critical translators between the tech folks and the business leaders.
So we know the destination, but how do you actually make the journey? This is where having a structured approach becomes your absolute best friend. Let's take a look at what that path actually looks like. Look, a really solid blueprint for learning isn't just about theory you read in a textbook. It's about getting you ready for a career. The best paths are always led by people who are actually in the industry, and they focus heavily on what you'll face in the real world. You want to look for things like hands-on projects that build a portfolio you can actually show off, and direct support for stuff like perfecting your resume and acing the interview. It's kind of like an apprenticeship for the digital age.
Every pro needs a toolkit, right? Well, for a GRC analyst, that toolkit is a really deep understanding of core principles, technologies, and frameworks. This is the foundation that you're going to build your entire career on. Seriously, almost everything in cybersecurity comes back to these three letters, CIA. Confidentiality is simple, keeping secrets secret. Integrity is all about making sure data is trustworthy and hasn't been messed with. And availability just means the systems are up and running when you need them. If you can master this one concept, you understand the fundamental goal of pretty much every security measure out there.
And from that CIA foundation, you start to build out your technical know-how. So for instance, endpoint security. That's just a way of talking about protecting individual devices like your laptop or phone. Or identity and access management, IAM. That's all about the crucial job of controlling who gets to see what. You're building this comprehensive view of the entire digital battlefield.
Now we get to what I like to call the rule books of the industry. These frameworks are basically just proven sets of best practices. For example, any company that takes your credit card payment, they have to follow the PCI DSS framework to keep that data safe. A GRC analyst who gets these frameworks can walk into any organization and help them play by the rules and avoid some massive penalties.
Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. Knowing stuff is one thing, but companies hire you for what you can do. This is that pivot point where all your learning turns into real, tangible skills you can prove.
And this isn't some abstract theory. This is the actual step-by-step playbook for an IT audit, a core part of the job. You start with planning and getting everyone on the same page. Then you dive into the field work, testing things, gathering evidence, and it all wraps up with reporting your findings to the people who can make decisions. It's a repeatable process that adds a ton of value.
And a huge part of that fieldwork is understanding controls. Here's an easy way to think about it. IT general controls are like the security for the entire office building. The main door locks, the security cameras, the guard at the front desk. Application controls, those are the specific locks on the doors to individual rooms inside, like the server room or the accounting office. You have to know how to test both to make sure the whole place is secure.
And that's the whole point, right? You can't just read about this stuff, you have to actually do it. A really strong portfolio would have projects where you've actually conducted a risk assessment, tested for something specific like SOX compliance, or analyzed professional vendor reports. This is when homework stops being homework and starts becoming the proof you can show to a hiring manager.
All right, let's talk about the end game. All this training, all this practice, it's all geared towards one thing, landing you in a fulfilling, high-demand job that you'll love.
What's so cool is this path doesn't just lead to one specific job title. It opens a ton of doors. That audit process we just walked through, boom, you're a perfect fit for an IT auditor role. Understanding frameworks like MIST, that's essential for an information security analyst. These aren't just titles. These are real careers that companies are desperately trying to hire for right now.
And it goes way beyond the tech skills. The people who truly succeed in this field, the ones who climb the ladder fast, they are fantastic communicators. Being able to take complex technical stuff, write it down clearly, and then explain it to executives who aren't tech experts, that's a genuine superpower. It's how you turn data into decisions.
Okay, last section, and this one is so important. Let's talk about the mindset. Because a career in cybersecurity isn't just a 9-to-5 job. It's a commitment to always be learning and thinking one step ahead.
This is the absolute core truth of this field. The bad guys are always evolving, so your skills have to evolve too. The tools and rules that are standard today might be old news in a couple of years. And honestly, that's what makes this career so exciting and dynamic.
And this one just hammers home that point about practical experience. It's all about taking what you learn in a session or from a book and immediately using it to solve a real problem. That is how knowledge transforms into expertise, the kind an employer can actually see and value.
And this might be the most important message of all. Making a career change, learning something new, yeah, it can feel like a risk. But in a field with this much demand, where skilled people are so needed, the real risk might just be standing still. So back to that big question. Is it possible to go from beginner to a job-ready professional? Absolutely. The blueprint is clear, the path is there, and the need has never, ever been greater. So the only question left is, who's going to step up and help keep our digital world secure?